Another amazing book coming out from our friends at Space Wizard Science Fantasy. Tavern Tale is coming out January 7th, and I'm so excited because I am here with Kristina Kelly, the author of Tavern Tale. Kristina, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So January 7th is just around the corner. Um,
Great.
it's just before the holidays here now. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Tavern Tale because it's inspired by my love of RPG games and how I get really pulled into the side quests. So I really started writing this book with that idea of kind of showing the love I have for video games, for storytelling. And it is my debut Sapphic fantasy romance. I've written a few other things, and so this is my first fantasy romance. So I've got a lot of fun things inside that's kind of just new for me. So I'm very excited.
That's so cool. I was taking a look at your bio and I love the story of you meeting your husband because of Final Fantasy and having the
Yeah.
Beatles rock band at your wedding. I think that's so
Yes.
cool. How was that received at, were people all into that at the wedding? Like did people were they into it?
Yeah. So what we did with the wedding is we did a lot of subtle stuff. So there were some video game references with magic and colors. So we had different colors for wind and water and fire, but like the normal person probably didn't recognize it. And then I actually had some local musicians play a few renditions of some video game pieces. So they're very pretty, and I don't know that anybody in the audience recognizes it. And then yeah, our reception was just kind of different than the usual. We didn't have people dancing, but we had off to the side, hey, if you want to play some games, we've got Beatles Rock Band, which was a hit with like under 20. And then us, of course. So
Right.
like our family was hanging out with the cake and whatnot, and then the all the youngins were over there playing the game. So that was good. It kept people entertained, and just it was stuff that we loved. So it didn't matter who was actually partaking or not. It was us.
That's awesome. I love that. So this is a cozy fantasy romance
Yes.
where the side quest might be the main quest, which I that tagline like right there, I can't wait to read the book. But like in terms of the story,
Mhm.
who's our main character? I've read a little bit, but tell us a little bit more. Give me more.
Yeah, definitely. So our main protagonist is Divine. She's a healer of the goddess of souls, and she's chasing a thief who stole her talisman, and that's the source of her magic. Without it, she's powerless. So she's been chasing this betrayer across half of the continent, and she runs into our main love interest, which is Saf. She's a flirty tavern owner with an eye patch, and she's got some various nose and ears piercings, and she's got a proposition. She'll help Divine locate her lost talisman if Divine will help her complete a mysterious quest in a chest. So that's kind of the premise. Those are our characters. If you've played Dragon Age, I liken Divine a lot to Liliana from the Dragon Age series. She's very empathetic, can be a little bit brooding. And then Saf, I liken her to Isabella from the Dragon Age franchise because she's flirty, she's very adventurous and witty, and together I think the two have great chemistry on page. And I really love for myself that I was able to capture that side quest vibe. So the beginning is very cozy. There's kind of some scenes wandering around in the city. There's a fall market that they go to. They have little foods and nibblies and things. It's got very, very cozy. But then what about this quest in a chest? Maybe that actually isn't a side quest.
Ooh, I love it. So who's your main audience for this? Or is this like young adult, adult? Who are you looking to entertain with this book?
Yeah, it's for an adult audience. It's got a little bit of spicy romance on page, so it's definitely for the adult audience. And then anyone who loves sapphic books, sapphic romance, fantasy, it definitely has a lot of world building in it. So that's why I say it's cozy with higher stakes. So I think it's for also those who really are into epic fantasy and aren't afraid of the romance aspect as well. And of course, anybody who's played D&D, the games that inspired it, like Skyrim and Dragon Age, all of those folks, I think, would really enjoy the novel.
Awesome. Where can people find it? if they want to
Yep, it's up
pre-order?
for pre-order. It's available on Amazon. It's going to be on Kindle Unlimited as well. And as we get closer to release date, also check out my site as well as my publisher, Space Wizard Science Fantasy, to get other pre-orders for the physical copies. But definitely on launch day, day 7 of January, you'll be able to get the paperback as well.
Great. And then you have a whole host of other things that you've written. Like you do poetry, you've co-authored.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit, like where do you get your inspiration from? Who do you like to read?
yeah. So I get my inspiration from everywhere. I draw a lot from nature, and just being out in the world and doing things. And then, of course, I get inspiration from the other science fiction and fantasy media that I consume. So, you mentioned my co-author book. So I have a book that I co-authored with one of my best friends, and he and I became friends because of our mutual love of things like Lord of the Rings and Star Trek and Star Wars and Stargate, all the stars. And a lot of those we found influenced us, and that influenced us a lot when we wrote Trials of the Innermost, and we blended fantasy and science fiction. So it's very much in a fantasy type world set on a planet that stops spinning, and there's all these sprinkles of sci-fi elements, which I really like to do. If you notice, you mentioned my poetry. I've got a poetry book which is science fiction and fantasy poetry, so I really like smushing things together that maybe you wouldn't think go together, just to create something new and push creativity and see what comes out of it. So Imaginary is that poetry book, and I also have my photography in there. So science fiction, fantasy poetry paired with photography. It's a unique little thing.
I love that. First of all, I love that you said you're smushing things together. I think that's just because I think it opens up the doors to so many other possibilities for where you can take your creativity. Like I think as creators, it helps us to challenge a little bit for ourselves, and then we can push even better content out there. And I
Yeah.
just love that you use the word you're smushing it out.
Smushed.
Smush. Is this gonna end up being is this gonna turn into a series?
Yes. I have planned this to be a trilogy at this point. So it's going to be called Tales of Trovania because that's the continent it takes place on. And my ultimate goal is to actually introduce other side stories. So, of the various little side characters you encounter in Tavern Tale and the sequels, I want to give them little side stories as well, like little novellas. And so, there's going to be this big, hopefully, Tales group. But Tavern Tale is going to be part of the trilogy, Tales of Trovania.
Amazing. And again, remind us where we can get it for
It's
pre-order.
available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
And where can people find you if they have questions or want to, get a little sampling of what, your writing's like?
Yeah. My website is christinaseyes.com. And then you can find me almost on every social media with my handle, Kristina W. Kelly. I'm very active on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, but I'm also hanging out on all the other ones as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will put all of the links in the show notes. Guys, make sure that you pre-order. January 7th is launch day. Get your copy of Tavern Tale. And Kristina, thank you so much. We look forward to having you back in a couple weeks post-launch.
Thank you.